Hi, my name is Gina, and I'm going to take you through a 30-minute Vinyasa yoga flow, where you'll create space and length and build amazing body strength. And most importantly, connect the body, breath, and the mind in a moving meditation. We're going to begin by taking a seated position at the top of our mats. As you find a comfortable place to sit, rest your hands, close your eyes, find your long spine, and begin to notice how the body feels. Begin to notice your tailbone on the mat, and you begin to stack each vertebrae one on top of the next. Take a full breath in, lift your shoulders up to your ears. And as you exhale, soften your shoulders down your spine. And begin to connect the breath to the body. So as you take your inhales and your exhales, you begin to send the breath into the areas that may feel a little tense or tight. And you're allowing your body to soften, allowing your facial muscles to soften. And then just begin to notice what comes up. Are there any thoughts you're hanging on to? And then bringing your hands to your heart center, you'll set an intention. An intention is just a quality or virtue you can incorporate into your practice. And to set your intention, you just simply ask yourself what you're needing at this time. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Taking 2 more slow breaths. Slowly draw your breath in and slowly releasing your breath into your belly, into your pelvis, and into your feet. 1 more. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly make your way into downward facing dog. Mindfully placing your hands on the mat, mindfully placing your feet. Those feet will be hip bone width distance, the hands will be shoulder width distance. And just start to move in your body a little bit in that dog. Start to notice if there's any tension you need to let go of. Maybe walking your dog, possibly wagging your tail back and forth. And then coming into stillness. So your body becomes still. You start to notice your breathing. Your gaze meets your feet, your knees, or your hips. Take a full breath in. And as you breathe out, send your sitting bones closer to the sky. Your index fingers root into the earth, and your heels drop closer to the ground. 2 more. Steady breath in. Flowing breath out. Last one, filling up. And emptying out. Gliding into our high plank. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, engage your hips. Fire up those legs. If you're needing a modification, you would release the knees down to the mat. If you're needing to intensify, you would straighten those legs. Stack those heels right over the balls of the feet. Breathe in. And breathe out. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. 2. Last one. Follow the breath in. And as you breathe out, you're going to come into your Dolphin Plank. So lowering your forearms down to the mat, engaging the core. We'll fire it up for 5 more breaths. If you need to modify this, you would just release those knees down to the mat. And again, if you're looking to intensify, you'd straighten those legs. Steady the breath in. And steady the breath out. 2 more. Pulling the belly button into the back, drawing the shoulders down the spine. Last one. And slowly lower all the way down to your bellies, where you'll find your Sphinx Pose. So we engage our legs. The legs are strong. The ankles are strong as you press the shoelace part of your foot down into the mat. You can feel those kneecaps lift up as well. And then lift the heart. Send that lower back to your heels. And breathing in for 3. And breathing out. 2. Inhale. As you exhale, we're going to fire that core up one more time. Untuck those toes and press it back into your Dolphin Plank for 5 more. 4. Following that breath, stay with it. Last 2. 1 more. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, walk those feet into your Dolphin Dog. Take a deep breath in here. And as you exhale, press back into your downward facing dog. And slowly walk those feet up to the hands as you come into Uttanasana. You're going to soften those knees, rest the belly button right on the thighs. Slide your hands back to line up with your toes. Let the head release. And breathe. And you want to feel those legs strong on the mat. You want to feel the ankles and the knees begin to push away from each other. And with resistance into the floor, you draw your shoulders down your spine. Take 2 more. Breathe in. And breathe out. Deep breath in here. And release. Inhaling into your halfway lift. You can slide those hands up your shins. Sometimes I like to take the fingertips on the ground. Find length, send the weight forward. Exhale, bow and fold. Inhale, sweeping it all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center and find your mountain pose. Breathe in to sweep it high. Exhale, soften your knees, bow and fold. Come right back into Uttanasana. Inhale to your halfway lift. And exhale, step back into your high plank. Breathe in. And breathe out, low plank, chaturanga, where your elbows will swipe your ribs. Inhale, hips and knees, try to stay off the mat, coming into your upward dog. Exhale, send it back, downward facing dog. Breathe in. And breathe out. Bringing the feet together to touch. Inhale and lift your right leg, keeping your hips squared down to the earth. Exhale and drop your left heel a little bit lower. Breathe in, lift the right leg a little higher. And breathe out, open that hip and bend the knee. Take a full breath in to straighten that right leg, square the hips. Exhale, draw your knee into your nose and step it through to your hands. And getting light on those fingertips. Lift that belly button right off of your right thigh. And then begin to square the hips to the front of the room. You can always modify this by releasing the back knee down to the mat or intensify by straightening that leg. Breathe in and sweep your arms all the way up by your ears. Asana, crescent lunge. Taking 5 breaths here. Right, again, you can modify by releasing the back knee down to the mat. And if you're intensifying, you're straightening that back leg. Now continue to breathe as you square your hips. Lunge in deep. That knee is stacked right over the right ankle. If you want to take it further, you would lift your heart, maybe find a gentle back bend. One more. Inhale. Exhale, take your hands to your heart center and come into your warrior two. So adjusting that back foot so it's parallel to the edge of the mat, and then extending your arms so they're reaching in both directions. Finding your steady breath again, we find 5. And as you breathe, you just feel that body, right? Notice the left hip and that left shoulder opening. Notice the fingertips reaching in both directions. And possibly softening the facial muscles and the shoulders. And breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale. Coming into our side angle. As you exhale, that right elbow finds your inner right thigh. And you begin to stack that left hand over the left shoulder. Finding your breath. You may want to touch those right fingertips down to the ground. Maybe you look for a bind and wrap that left arm around your back. Really working that right rib cage up to the sky. You have 2 more as you tuck that right hip right underneath your left. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, make your way back into warrior two. Inhale to straighten that right leg. Send your hips to the back of the room. And we're going to come into Trikonasana, triangle pose. And slowly reaching that right arm forward, resting it gently behind the right knee or shin. And finding that breath. And again, always stacking joints. So that left hand stacks right over that left shoulder. We have 3 more as we send our hips forward and our shoulders back. Last 2. One more, deep breath in. And again, finding that warrior two as you exhale. And breathe in to straighten that right leg, turning your toes towards the left side of the room, either clasping your hands behind your back for a shoulder opener or just taking your hands to your hips. Inhale to lift your hearts. Exhale, bow forward, holding that length in your spine and letting yourself release until you feel like that crown of the head is reaching for the earth. Your hands are clasped behind your back. Just send those hands down to the floor. And following the breath. If your hands are on the ground, you're just bending into those elbows, pushing into the earth to draw that body through your legs. We rock our weight forward, maybe lifting the heels. Breathe in and breathe out. Releasing the bind slowly. Toe heel your feet in just enough so you can soften your knees, take your hands to your hips, and flat back safely up to standing. Taking your hands to your heart center, turn those right toes open, and rotate right into your lunge. So spinning on the ball of that left foot. Inhale, begin to hover over the right thigh. Exhale, we'll drop our left rib cage, open up our right, and find our twist. And keep in mind, you can always release the back knee down to the mat to modify. You can intensify by opening those arms to fly. Maybe finding a bind by wrapping that right arm around your back. We have about 3 more. Squaring those hips down to the ground. Last 2. 1 more. Full breath in. Exhale, release your hands down to the mat. Step back into your high plank. Breathe in. Breathe out, chaturanga. Inhale, sweeping it up to your up dog. Exhale, send it back, downward facing dog. And take a full breath in. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Bringing those feet to touch. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Squaring your hips down to the ground. Take another deep breath in to lift that left leg a little higher. And as you exhale, you'll open the hip and bend the knee. Just awakening the left side. Squaring your shoulders down to the ground. Inhale, straighten that left leg, re-square your hips. Exhale, draw your knee into your nose and step it through to your hands. Finding the proper alignment now on your left side, you get light on those fingertips. Square the hips, lift the belly button right off of the left thigh. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhale, sweep it up. Asana, crescent lunge. We find 5. And following that breath for 4 more. Notice the alignment in the body. At any time, if you find your mind wanders away from the mat or the present moment, you have that intention that you can always come back to. With 2 more, maybe there's a gentle back bend in there for you. Last 1. And exhale, we open up to Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Adjusting the back foot so it's parallel. And finding your 5 breaths. How steady can you make that breath? And can your inhales match the length of your exhales? There's 2 more as you begin to open the right side of the body, right hip, right shoulder. Last 1, fingertips reach, grow out of the fingertips. Exhale into your side angle. 5 breaths. Maybe wrapping that right arm around your back, maybe finding a bind. 3 more, engaging the legs fully. 2, as you feel the feet and the toes connect. Last one, opening that right shoulder just a little more. And breathe in and come into your warrior two. Triangle pose. Straightening your left leg, sending your hips all the way to the back of the room, and taking 5 breaths to enter in. You can use those 5 breaths to lengthen and grow and expand from your center. Just 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Make your way back into warrior two. From here, take your hands to your heart center. We'll spin and face the right side of the room. And we'll draw our feet right underneath our hips, stacking the knees over the ankles, and we'll find our cactus pose, or goddess warrior, cactus arms. Follow that breath. And 3 more. Keeping your mind on the mat. Last 2, always telling yourself how strong you are. Give it 1 more as you grow out of those fingertips. Inhale, straighten those legs, straighten the arms. Take your hands to your heart center and come back into your warrior two. Here, then spin onto the ball of the right foot. Square your hips to the front of the room. Begin to hover over your left thigh. Drop your right rib cage, open up your left, and find your twist. Full breath in. And a steady breath out. Again, you might want to open those arms to fly. Maybe wrapping your left arm around your back or finding a bind. Let me give it 2 more. Fire up that back leg. Inhale. And exhale. Release the hands down to the mat and step back into your high plank. Full breath in, gazes at the top of the mat. Exhale, low plank chaturanga. Inhale, sweep it up to your up dog. Exhale, send it back, down dog. And breathe. 3 more. And in these breaths, we find stillness in the body, stillness in the mind, always coming back into our intention if we feel that we're wandering away in thought. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Walk your feet up enough to come to the balls of your feet. Bend your knees. Look up at your hands and walk or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, bow and fold. Inhale, sweeping it up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center. Find your mountain pose. Inhale, we're going to take a standing balance, eagle pose. Draw your right knee into your chest, arms come out to a T. And as you exhale, you're going to wrap that right thigh over your left and your left elbow over your right. You can always use that right foot as a little kickstand on the mat. Or maybe you let it float. Maybe you begin to wrap the right leg around the left. Maybe the palms come together. There's about 3 more. Can you sink your hips a little lower? Lift the elbows a little higher as you soften the shoulders. 1 more, deep breath in. And exhale, slowly unwrap. Extend that right knee into your chest. We're going to come into Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. So sending that right leg to the back of the room and the crown of the head to the front of the room. You want to swipe those knees. Flexing the right foot, turning the right hip down. There's about 3 more. Firing up that back leg. Last 2. And breathe in. And breathe out, drawing that right knee into your chest. And finding your mountain pose. Full breath in. Open up and just let that breath release. Coming into the other side. Inhale, left knee lifts, arms come out to a T. And now you wrap that left thigh over the right elbow over the left. And we find those 5 breaths. Again, you can always use that left leg as a kickstand. You can always leave your arms unwrapped. You can always wrap your arms around your back. 3 more. Softening the facial muscles. Last 1, breathe in. And breathe out, unwrap. Extend your left leg, sweep your arms high. Coming into Warrior 3. Sending your left leg to the back of the room, the palms come together, and to your heart center, you begin to kick into that left foot. Making a straight line from your back heel to the crown of the head. Two more. Breathe in. And slowly drawing that left knee into your chest. Sweep your arms high and find your mountain pose. Full breath in. And let it go. Inhale, big sweep. Exhale, soften your knees, bow and fold. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, step back into your high plank. Breathe in. And breathe out, low plank. Inhale, sweeping it up to your up dog. Drawing the belly button down to the floor. Firing those legs up. Exhale, send it back. Lead with those thighs, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. And a full breath out. Inhale, glide into that high plank. And now we're going to lower belly, shoulders, and head all at the same time. Elbows swipe the ribs. And we find our bellies. Coming into our locust pose, we'll clasp our hands behind our back. And from here, firing those legs up. Make sure those feet are right underneath your hip bones. Float your heart, float your shoulders, float your hands. And then lastly, float those feet as you spread your toes. Keeping the gaze at the top of the mat. Keep working those inner thighs together. Giving it 2 more. Try to fold that body right in half. Last one, deep breath in. And let it release. You can just connect your fingertips, rest your forehead on your fingers. From here, we'll come into bull pose, Janaransana. And so reaching back and grabbing those ankles or toes. Keep your inner thighs together, flex your feet, and then send it up. Full breath in. Full breath out. 4 more. 3. 2, don't let those inner thighs separate. Take 1 more and let it go. From here, taking those hands under your shoulders, pressing through your tabletop and back into your downward facing dog. Opening our hips and bring those feet together into touch. Inhale, lift your right leg. Exhale, draw that right knee into your right wrist. Try to wiggle your right ankle as close to your left wrist as you can. You want to make sure the right thigh is parallel to the edge of the mat. You want to make sure that you're connected in the right hip to the ground. So if it's lifted, right, if you find that right hip floating, then you'll just take a blanket, possibly a yoga block, and place it underneath your right thigh. And then from there, you're just going to walk the hands forward. Rest your head on something, like the mat, the fingers, a blanket, again, a yoga block. And from here, staying there, staying in your half pigeon with your head on the ground, connected to the earth, you find that breath. You begin to soften the muscles. You begin to let go of any physical strength. And you're trying to let that hip release. And for 10 more cycles of breath, just stay with it and try to remain patient and aware and on your mat. And there's about 8 more. You may find that your mind wanders away. If it does, you just come back to the breath, come back to the intention, trying to stay within the moving meditation. And breathing in, and breathing out. We're going to find 1 more steady and slow breath in. And steady and slow breath out. Walking your hands back to your hips. Take a full breath in. And then make your way back into downward facing dog. You may need to reset those hips, wag your tail. And when you're ready, inhale, float that left leg high. Keep those hips square. Exhale, draw your left knee into your left wrist. And maybe that right ankle to your right wrist. Same principles of alignment are applied to this side. Parallel thigh to your mat, connecting the left hip down to something, a block, a mat, a blanket. And then from there, just walking those hands forward, finding a sweet place to rest your head, and finding 10 breaths. Keeping your mind on your breath, working to not lose sight of it. How slowly can you draw that breath in? And can you match that exhale to the inhale? There's 5 more cycles of breath. Inhale. And then walking those hands back to those hips. From here, we'll sweep that right leg around to the front of the room and slowly make our way to our backs. When you find your way to your backs, we're just going to take a gentle twist. So we'll draw our right knee into our chest, stacking that right thigh over towards the left, gazing over the right fingertips. Let the body soften as your practice comes to an end. Breathing in, draw your knee into your chest. Straighten your right leg down the mat. And coming into the other side. Giving yourself a few gentle breaths. And take it back up to the center. Extend both legs down the mat. Drape your arms by your side and you're going to find Shavasana. Lying in your Shavasana, close your eyes. Let the body soften. Come back into your intention. Stay as long as you'd like. And when you finish your Savasana, you make your way back into your seated position. Take your hands to your heart center. Namaste.